Hi, this is Delaney Wusso, and I'm presenting the history of phonics instruction in the United States. What is phonics? Phonics is the relationship between sounds and their spellings. It's a building block of reading. It allows students to decode words that they don't know by looking at letters and knowing the sounds that those letters are going to make so that they can read unfamiliar words. It's important for fluency and therefore for comprehension. And 84% of English words follow the phonics rules. In the beginning of our nation, religious settlers wanted their children to read the scripture. Many of them were Puritans who came over from England, and reading the scripture was important to them. Early settlers were religious, and they wanted their children to be Christians and democratic citizens. To keep democracy alive, many people believed it was important to educate the population so that they were literate. An educated population could vote and meet the demands of a democratic society. Reading the Bible was the moral compass for decisions. Phonics had ups and downs throughout the timeline of our United States history. It had some periods where it was super popular and periods where it really took a back seat to other methods, namely the whole word method. In the beginning, there was reading and spelling instruction. So adults read to children. The horn book was one book that they would read, and it was like a beginning book that had some verses and poems. Primer, Psalter, and the whole Bible. That was the goal, was for children to be able to read all those different parts. Most colonies required that parents teach their children to read in the 1670s, and spellers were used for learning the sounds of the alphabet and the alphabetic principle. The alphabetic principle is basically that all the different letters have different sounds that they go with. So it's connecting the grapheme to the phoneme or sound that it makes. The English primer was one that students used to practice reading syllables and words before they started reading words and sentences. So that was the first primer, and then there was a speller too. Benjamin Franklin wrote a speller, and others to teach students the sounds of letters. Next, the whole word approach became popular. So the country kind of had a love-hate relationship with phonics, went back and forth between phonics and the whole word approach. Phonics instruction was challenged in the 1840s. Americans who visited schools in other countries noticed that they were teaching whole words with a picture to signify the meaning, and researchers believed that students could learn several letters to recognize that in the time that it took for students to learn several letters within words, they could learn words containing 4 times as many letters. So they just thought it would be faster to teach whole word and have students pick up the letters and the sounds as they went. Pestalozzianism was a theory by an educator in Switzerland, Pestalozzi, who believed that comprehension should come first and that children understood the big picture, the whole word, the whole sentence, the whole story before they learned the details of the spelling sounds relationship. So he wanted to teach whole words and then have students learn the spellings along the way. And The progressivist movement also helped this because basically John Dewey, a leader in progressivism, said that children learn through play, and so reading should be fun for students, not just memorizing phonics drills. So synthetic phonics became popular next, and synthetic phonics is where students learn word families or groups of letters that are found in several words. So they would learn ab, so that they knew cab, crab, dab, and this was different from other types of phonics where they learned just the patterns. So they learned groups, and they'd focus on one word family and just in that part. So the words were kind of in isolation and didn't have much meaning to them. With the whole word approach after synthetic phonics came readers. And the goal of these readers was for reading to be fun and meaningful. There were colored pictures, they told stories, and they taught a lot of sight words to students. So the goal was to understand whole words quickly and pick up the most important words. Then phonics was emphasized again. It was called analytic phonics. Basically, the goal of analytic phonics was to break whole words into their parts. So this replaced learning the word families before the words. It just focused on words more in context and looking at the parts and what they meant, what they sounded like. The advantage of this is that students were using real words, not just meaningless word parts like ab. And it was just more meaningful for students. Students need to use phonics skills to read 70% of words, so it was really practical. Today, after all that debate back and forth, does phonics work, does it not work, we have the Common Core, and it includes phonics, but it includes it within a more comprehensive framework. So it includes comprehension, fluency, vocabulary, phonemic awareness to create a whole picture for our students. So the focus isn't just teaching phonics without any meaning, but meaning and comprehension is ultimately the goal for students. So that's phonics today. Please complete this survey so I know what you think. Thank you for listening.